My name is Maria Zambrana. I served in the U.S. Navy twice, from 1992 and 1995, and then again from 2000 to 2004. I served aboard a ship in 1993 called the USS Shenandoah. As far as PTSD goes, it depends on what that person's background is as far as how well they can handle it in the present when they encounter an incident which could or could not trigger off long-term effects. Sometimes there is a fluke where something is so traumatic that it will launch them into PTSD, but for the most part I believe there is something in their background where it resurfaces in a way during that incident. Well, a big misconception about PTSD is it has to come from battle. You have to be in a traumatic situation in battle personally, but there are people who watched 9/11 on air and they got PTSD from just watching that, from experiencing that visually. Well, TBI obviously is more of a physical injury to the brain. As far as PTSD, it's more of a psychological injury. I think that PTSD and TBI are manageable through therapy, medication, regular treatment. I do not believe they are curable. I do not believe there's a way to erase them. I think you can control them and rechannel your thoughts to keep them from being destructive. The only really incident that I've had with somebody was he didn't like how I was playing pool one night, and he was drunk, and he threw a pool ball at me.
Did it hit you?
No. It hit the table, bounced past my head, and for the first time in a long time, I was actually purely angry, because I don't get angry. I get frustrated, upset, and cry. But for the first time, it was pure anger, and I took my pool cue, and I had the rubber end, and I aimed it at his feet. So,
You get him?
no. But it was the first time I'd struck back in any way, verbally or physically, in a long time.
Probably good then, right?
I guess so. But he earned it. I've had issues with the VA as far as counseling goes, as far as mental health care, because I do have the anxiety disorder. I do have depression issues from hormonal disorder. And I've run through a couple of different psychiatrists there, and the system is pretty well broken. I went to see one, and she would be constantly late for the appointment. So there would be 3 or 4 other people waiting in the office by the time she finally got in. And let's just say some of them were in a little more desperate need than me. So it's like, you go. And I would cancel my appointment for that day. When I was put into another thing and they said I was going to start psychotherapy, they never called me back. And because I'd been told it would be a 6-month wait to get to see a psychiatrist for psychotherapy, and they never called me. The VA is overwhelmed. They do provide good care on smaller terms, but when you get to the larger ones like West LA, they're flooded with people. They don't have the resources that are necessary. I don't fault them for, not being able to do it, because they are able to do it, but I fault them for not having the personnel on hand to do these things. What we have to remember is that we've been in an active period of war since 1991. We are amassing millions of veterans into the system. So it's understandable that the larger VAs cannot cope with this number. There's not enough support. I have worked at the American Legion since 2005. I was the secretary for 2 years. 2007 onward, I've been doing independent work as the archivist, librarian, museum guard, whatever they needed me for, and occasionally as a site rep assistant.